Do you want a ripped abdomen even after 40? Then pay attention because I'm going to explain exactly what to do. No fluff, no wasted time. We're going to talk about the 5 essential exercises of the military belly pump, a method tested and approved by soldiers, athletes, and elite trainers who understand what really works. This method doesn't require hours of training, fancy equipment, or room for excuses. If you follow what I'm telling you here with dedication and consistency, you'll feel the difference in your abs within a few weeks. Military mountain climbers, the high-intensity exercise to burn fat and activate your core. This one is no joke. If you're truly committed to sculpting your abs, you need to include military mountain climbers in your routine. This exercise is like a torpedo against belly fat while strengthening your entire core, including the stabilizer muscles that are essential for maintaining proper posture and preventing back pain. Once you're past 40, you can't afford to waste time on useless ab exercises. You need movements that work your abs intensely and effectively. And that's exactly what this exercise does. I see a lot of people trying to burn belly fat with just diet or light cardio, but let me be honest with you, that's not enough. If you're not doing an exercise that combines rapid movement with deep core contraction, your stomach won't change. The key to this exercise is intensity. It gets your heart racing, makes you sweat, and at the same time forces your abs to stay engaged the entire time. That means you're not only strengthening your abdominal muscles, but also boosting your metabolism and speeding up fat burning. Now listen closely. Proper execution of this exercise makes all the difference. If you do it wrong, it won't work. Here's what you need to do. Start in a high plank position with your hands on the ground and your body fully aligned from shoulders to feet. Your abs must stay engaged the entire time. That's the first key. From this position, pull one knee toward your chest and then switch to the other as if you're running in place. But it's not just about moving your legs randomly. The movement needs to be both fast and controlled. If you lose control and just throw your knees forward, it won't be effective. The focus is to keep your core tight and maintain a stable posture while performing the movement. Now that you understand the importance of military mountain climbers, let's move on to the next exercise. This next movement not only strengthens your abs, but also improves your explosive power and muscular endurance. This is the explosive military sit-up, and I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it the right way to maximize your results. Explosive military sit-up, power and endurance for a strong, defined core. If you've tried traditional sit-ups and felt like you weren't seeing much progress, don't worry. You're not alone. Most people make the mistake of doing thousands of weak sit-ups without intensity or proper muscle contraction. The explosive military sit-up changes that completely. This exercise demands speed and power on the way up, followed by absolute control on the way down. This means you're working both phases of the movement intensely, recruiting more muscle fibers, and deeply stimulating your abs. If you look at elite athletes or soldiers in military training, you'll notice they don't do regular sit-ups. They focus on explosive, high-intensity movements because this type of training builds real core strength. Having strong abs isn't just about having a visible six-pack. It means having a core that can support your body, improve your posture, and even prevent injuries. Now, let's go over proper execution. If you want to feel this exercise really working, you need to pay attention to the details. First, lie on your back on the floor with your knees bent and your feet flat on the ground. Keep your feet firmly planted. Don't let them lift off the floor during the movement. Your hands can be crossed over your chest or placed behind your head, but be careful. If you choose to place your hands behind your head, don't use your neck to pull yourself up. The movement should come 100% from your abs. Now comes the most important part, the explosive movement on the way up. You're not just lifting your torso any way you want. You need to explode upward, contracting your abs as much as possible and rising as fast as you can. At the top of the movement, hold the contraction for a second, then lower yourself in a controlled manner. The biggest mistake I see is people just collapsing on the way down. Don't do that. If you let your body drop without control, you're wasting half the exercise. Lowering yourself slowly keeps your abs engaged and increases the effectiveness of the workout. If you want maximum results, perform this exercise with intensity. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Doing 15 well-executed reps is far more effective than doing 50 without control. Now, let's talk about the most common mistakes and how to avoid them. Using your neck to lift yourself. This is a classic mistake. If you feel tension in your neck instead of your abs, it means you're pulling your head forward instead of activating your core, letting your feet lift off the floor. This reduces core engagement and turns the exercise into uncontrolled momentum, collapsing on the way down. Full control of the movement is essential to maximize muscle activation. If you're just starting and find this exercise difficult, you can begin with a lighter variation. Instead of coming all the way up, try doing a half movement, lifting only part of your torso until you feel your abs contract. This helps you build strength before progressing to the full version. If you already have a solid level of core strength and want a bigger challenge, you can hold a weight on your chest or perform the movement with your legs elevated, increasing the difficulty even further. The recommendation is to do 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, always focusing on explosive movement on the way up and controlled descent. If you perform this exercise correctly and combine it with the other military belly pump movements, you can be sure that your abs will transform within weeks. Now that you've learned about the explosive military sit-up, let's move on to the next exercise. This next movement isn't as well known, but it's one of the most powerful for strengthening deep core muscles and tightening your waistline. This is the military ab vacuum, and I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it the right way to maximize your results. Military ab vacuum, the secret to a tight core and a slimmer waist. If you've ever seen those golden era bodybuilders like Arnold Schwarzenegger and wondered how they maintained such a slim waist despite having so much muscle mass, the answer lies in this exercise. The military ab vacuum is an old technique used in both bodybuilding and military training to strengthen the transverse abdominis, the deepest abdominal muscle. This muscle acts like a natural corset, holding all your organs in place and giving your stomach that flat, tight look. This exercise isn't about repetition or intensity, it's about control and deep muscle activation. Many people spend years training their abs but never work their internal muscles, which is why their stomach still looks bloated even when they have muscle definition. The ab vacuum solves exactly this problem. Here's how to do it correctly. First, stand up or kneel. Kneeling usually makes it easier to activate the transverse abdominis. Now, completely exhale, releasing all the air from your lungs. As soon as you exhale, pull your abdomen in as much as possible, as if you were trying to stick your belly button to your spine. Hold this contraction for as long as you can. Start with 10 to 20 seconds and gradually increase over time. Relax and repeat for 4 to 5 rounds. The key to this exercise is practice. At first, it may feel difficult to hold the contraction, but over time, your brain learns to activate the transverse abdominis more efficiently. If you do this every day, you'll soon notice that your waist appears slimmer and your posture improves automatically. Now, many people ask me, how long does it take to see results with the ab vacuum? That depends on your consistency. If you do it every day, combined with the other military belly pump exercises, you'll start noticing a difference in your stomach shape in 2 to 3 weeks. The most common mistake here is not fully exhaling before contracting your abdomen. If you don't completely empty your lungs, you won't be able to activate the transverse abdominis properly. So pay close attention to your breathing and focus on maximum contraction. Now that you understand the power of the military ab vacuum, let's move on to the next exercise, which will take your training to an even higher level. This is the dynamic pumping plank, and it's essential for building an unshakable core. I'm going to show you exactly how to perform this exercise perfectly to achieve maximum results. Dynamic pumping plank, maximum endurance for an iron core. Now we've reached one of the most powerful and effective abdominal exercises, the dynamic pumping plank. If you truly want to build a solid, strong, and resilient core, this exercise needs to be part of your routine. Unlike the traditional plank, which is already great for strengthening the abs, this pumped up version activates the deeper core muscles even more, making the exercise even more challenging and effective. Here's a truth that many people don't realize. Your abs aren't just designed to flex your torso forward, like in most traditional sit-ups. In reality, the core's primary function is to stabilize and support the body against external forces, and that's exactly what the plank does. If you want truly defined and strong abs, you need to include isometric and resistance exercises in your routine, and the dynamic plank is one of the best for that. If you're just starting, you can modify the exercise by keeping your knees on the ground instead of extending your legs. This reduces the load and makes proper activation easier. This way, you can gradually build strength without compromising posture. If you're more advanced and looking for a bigger challenge, try wearing a weighted vest or placing your feet on an elevated surface, increasing intensity and pushing your core muscles even harder. If you perform the dynamic pumping plank correctly for 30 to 60 seconds, you'll feel an intense burn in your abs, a sign that you're activating your muscles properly. This exercise builds functional strength, helping not only with abdominal definition, but also with posture, balance, and even injury prevention. activation. Now that you understand the power of this exercise, let's move on to the final and most advanced one. This is the hollow body hold, a movement that is the secret weapon of gymnasts and military personnel for an unshakable core. Hollow body hold, the most effective exercise for steel-like abs. Now we've reached the king of abdominal exercises. If there's one movement that can completely transform your core, it's the hollow body hold. This exercise is widely used by gymnasts, elite athletes, and military forces because it fully activates the abs, working both the superficial and deep muscles. Additionally, it improves trunk stability, posture, and the ability to generate power from the core, which is essential for any physical activity. Now get ready, because this is not an easy exercise. Many people can't hold the position for even 10 seconds because it requires total body control and intense abdominal activation. But that's exactly why it's so effective. If you master the hollow body hold, you can be sure that your abs will become stronger and more defined than ever. Let's go over the correct execution. First, lie on the floor with your legs extended and your arms above your head. Now comes the critical part. You will lift your legs and shoulders at the same time, keeping only the lower part of your back touching the floor. Your body should form a slight U shape with your abs engaged the entire time. Your feet should be a few inches off the ground, and your arms should be extended above your head without touching the floor. The key here is to keep your lower back pressed against the floor. If you notice that your back is lifting off the ground, it means your core isn't strong enough yet to hold the position. In this case, you can do an easier variation by bending your knees and keeping your arms at your sides. This reduces the load and allows you to gradually build strength until you can perform the full version of the exercise. Now, let's talk about the most common mistakes and how to avoid them. Letting your lower back lift off the ground. This is the most serious mistake because it removes core activation and can cause lower back pain. Bending your knees unnecessarily. Unless you're doing a modified version, your legs should remain straight and firm, tensing your neck. Your gaze should be directed upward, not toward your feet, to avoid straining your neck. If you want a greater challenge, you can hold a light weight in your hands or use a resistance band attached to your feet to increase resistance. Another advanced variation is alternating between the static position and small leg movements, further increasing core activation. Now, here's the important part. How long should you hold this position? If you're just starting, try holding it for 10 to 15 seconds and gradually increase over time. The ideal goal is to reach 30 to 40 seconds for maximum activation. If you can hold this position for a minute or more, congratulations, you have an extremely strong core.